Hey everybody, this is Currency Capsule slash Mr. Smiles a Lot. How you all doing today? I am back with another Let's Talk Media LLC audio podcast from last weekend when I did another one. And the funny thing is, I think last time I did it was on a Sunday as well. Kind of funny how that worked out, right? Well, anyway, y'all, today's podcast is last time, what I talked about is how self-care is good for you and good for your mental health, and how taking care of yourself better with self-care is better for you as well. Well, today what I would like to talk about is this one's called Food for Thought, and I wanted to look this up because I feel like, this is something that we don't talk about. I feel like this is a good subject to talk about. Also, I'm holding my microphone a little bit closer to my mouth this time for my podcast because I've noticed that a lot of podcasters have microphones that are really close to their face whenever they talk, so people can hear them clear. I might end up trying to get a better podcast mic. Don't get me wrong. I love this Symonic boom mic, but let's see how this works out. So this one's called How Negative Thoughts Impact Our Health and our Life and Health. And this is posted on Thursday, July 27th, 2023. Hannah S. Packiam, MD, so medical doctor, right? Let's see, PGY-2 Family Medicine Resident. So this is going to go into her professional depth of why, thinking negative thoughts is bad for you and how it can affect you. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you can, just try to not do it. Think of the good things that you do in life. Think of what makes you happy. Anyway, here's what she has to say. Do you ever find yourself falling into the habit of thinking negatively? It may start as just one small pessimistic thought, but it can easily turn into a rabbit hole of doom and gloom. All of us have had those moments, and before we know it, it's hard to see the positive in anything. Negative thoughts can take over aspects of our lives. They can affect our relationships with others, cause low self-esteem, and make it harder to get through our day. Not only can negative thinking adversely affect our mental health by worsening anxiety and depression, but it can also affect our physical health by raising blood pressure and making it more difficult to recover from illness. These are just a few examples of how mindset and health are connected. Although negative thoughts can feel powerless, we actually have the power to fight back against them and challenge the way we think. So, example, whenever I have a million things going on at work sometimes, and it raises my blood pressure, and, I'm doing this and then that, and then, I'm having to do one test and the next, and, I don't know if I can keep up, especially with the timing and all that, just making sure that everything's done right and done on time. That can raise my blood pressure, and, sometimes I don't know if that's good for my mental health, but I've learned to work through it because of my job, and, it's really not that bad. Honestly. But there are those moments where I'll be like, it's just a million things going on at one time. So what I try to do is I try to make sure that I don't have any negative thoughts of I can't do this because I've been in it for so long. I know I can. It's just I think the way that I help myself of not have those negative thoughts is knowing when to break down of, okay, I can do this at this time, do this at this time, or I can spend this much time on this, then I have to move on to that. So once you find out what works out for you, whenever you have those moments where you're going to freak out or you feel like there's too many things going on at one time, whatever strategy you can do to help break that down to where you're not feeling like you're going to have the freak out moment, then do what works for you, I'm just saying. Anyway, that is so true though, whenever you have those moments where you start to freak out and your stomach starts to hurt and you get a headache, and then it takes all day to go away until the end of the day or until whatever issue you're having is solved or resolved, especially when you can't get off your mind. I think that's what they mean. And I have that issue sometimes. My issue, if I'm being honest, is that I don't like to say a freak out, but I would say freak out, but I tend to not like it if I don't know what's going to happen the next day, or if I don't have an answer to what I need excuse me, I'm a little gassy. If I don't have the answer to what I need the answer to, I'm just like, and I kind of like, I don't mean to shut down, but if I'm just being honest with you guys, I do kind of shut down until like I know the answer, and I guess it's better to shut down and then like think about it and like try to find the answer, and or at least until I get it. Then I guess having those freak out moments where I race around and my blood pressure's going crazy, and then like I mess up or something because I don't know what's going on. And I've done that before too, if we're being honest, where if I have those freak out moments, then I'll be asked like, can you do this or can you do that, or like I'll be asked if I remember to do something, or if I remember to do something, or if I have the answer to something in the middle of all the craziness, and then like I don't, and then that's. Or then I gotta do what I can to, make up for it, come up with the best idea or answer that I can, Then that's when it's like, then there's those freak out moments. But because I don't think negatively of anymore, I'm able to get through those moments a lot easier, and they're not as bad. And it feels good knowing that I'm like, I can do that. But anyway, so next sentence that she says is, some people might tell you to look at the glass as half full, but personally, that analogy usually makes me want to throw the glass away entirely. That's kind of funny. She says, instead, I recommend that the A&T model, yes, I'm referring to those picnic pests, A&T. The A&T model helps break down negative thoughts with logic and evidence instead of casting them to the side like the glass half full idea. Okay, so I was like, what does this mean? Okay, so I understand what they mean by a glass half full. I've heard that before, but let's see what her professional her analysis is. A&T stands for automatic negative thought. Oh, well, that makes sense. Some examples of A&Ts in your life might be that person hates me, or I have nothing going for me, or I'm never going to be happy. A&Ts tend to pop into our heads without any warning. Gosh, ain't that the truth, especially with me. Think of each automatic negative thought A&T as a real-life A&T. One or two A&Ts at a picnic aren't going to ruin your lunch, but if an entire colony of ants shows up, then the day probably won't be very pleasant. Similarly, oh my gosh, I hate this word. I told you it. I have issues with some words, people. Similarly. Automatic negative thoughts can take over your life when they multiply and get out of control. See, that's what I just said earlier, right? Out of control. So we're going to discuss how to get rid of them. That's exactly what I was basically saying. Like whenever things get too like, oh, blah, blah. Instead of having these negative thoughts, what I try to do is say to myself and reverse it in my own personal way. So I'm saying, okay, I've been at this a long time. I've been here. I know what I'm doing. Just because I have all these things going on doesn't mean I need to freak out and, not have confidence in myself. I've got this. So, like I said, it's way easier said than done. I mean, do I have those moments where I freak out and I feel like I can't do it? Of course. Of course I do. No one's perfect. But, I still know that I can do it. And that, honestly, really does help a lot. Anyway, she said first, she's saying from her professional analysis again, first, identify the A&T that you're dealing with right now. Just think of any automatic negative thought that regularly comes to mind. It can help to write your A&T down on paper, especially if you're a visual learner, right? So when you're having a picnic, there's never just one type of A&T. You've got the little black A&Ts, the bullet ants, and my personal enemy, the fire ants. That's funny. Okay, here we go with the word again. Oh my goodness. Similarly, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyway, similarly, why can't I say this word? I've always had issues with it. Oh my goodness. It only shows we're all human, right? Anyway, there are several species of automatic negative thoughts. Some examples of A&T species are listed below. All or nothing A&Ts. Thinking in extremes, but things are either good or but things are either all good or all bad. Less than A. So that's the first bullet point. Here's the second one. Less than ANTs. Comparing yourself and your situation to others and seeing yourself as less than. Oh, yeah. So let's go back to the first one. So thinking in extremes, the things are either all good or all bad. Everyone does it. Let's be honest. I do it, you do it, everyone does it. We're all guilty of it. And honestly, whenever that happens, I really don't think that's good for our physical or mental health. Especially whenever something pops in your head and it's all negative, and you instantly have that fire going off in your head of oh my goodness, this is such a big deal, and I need to freak out and blah 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 blah. And that's the extreme. And then you realize later on it's really not that big of a deal, especially when you do solve the issue, or once you see it kind of fizzle out, I guess, or you take a deep breath and realize that it's going to be okay. But yeah, no, whenever you think it's all good or all, you obviously you want it to be all good. That can be a good extreme, unless it turns into all bad, then, that might be a different story. But what I'm getting at is that, especially if it goes to all bad, when you're thinking extremes, maybe do what I said. Maybe when it's all going bad, you can think of all the things that you have in your life, right? And then the extreme of all good, and then maybe a number reverse the all bad, I don't know, I'm just saying. Okay, so then bullet point 2. Comparing yourself, your situation to others and seeing yourself as less than. See, that I've done that before, where I've been jealous and have other friends' success, or I've compared myself to, celebrities, or, one I really look up to, or, we've all done it, let's be honest here. And, I guess when you do that, you're like, man, I'm not as good as them, or I'm not as cool as them, or I'm not as popular, or I'm not as successful. It's who am I? Who wants to believe in me? Who wants to listen to me? I'm a nobody, And nobody wants that feeling. That's never fun. You want to be the one who's accepted. But here's the thing that I got to say to you. Instead of thinking of yourself as less than, or comparing yourself to a situation or someone else, you got to think about what makes you, what makes you special. Because let me tell you one thing. What makes you special, other people see it, right? And even if you don't. So, to me, I'm going to say I think you are special. And you just got to go out there and show that love and that specialty to everyone else out there, and just spread that, Find a talent. Find what makes you special. What makes you unique, right? And then so that way, whenever you find out what makes you special about yourself, that's a way to start stepping in the right direction to not compare yourself to others, right? And not think of yourself as less than. Think about that. That'll maybe help with your mental health on things as well, like that, when you do think of less than yourself, you know what I mean? Just saying. So, here's the third bullet point. Just the bad ANTs. Oh boy. Seeing only the bad in a situation. Well, we've all done this. Again, I've done this before too. I feel like the problem with also seeing the bad in a situation is that it can change your attitude, right? If you negatively think about about all the bad things that can happen right away, it'll put you in a bad negative mindset and mood. So then it might, cause you to treat others around you with that same negative mindset and mood, and that's not really fair to others around you, because you want to be loving and you want to be caring and you want to be there for them, right? Just like they're there for you. So instead of being that guy or girl or whoever who lashes out at other people whenever you're in a bad situation, maybe go to them for guidance. Maybe talk to someone, maybe be like, man, you know what? I've seen this thing happen a million times, but I feel like there might be some leeway that's going to be different. It might not be any different. I don't know. What can I do? Give me advice. Who can I talk to? You know what I'm saying? Something like that, because if you only see the bad in a situation, especially a negative situation, trust me, it's going to change your attitude negatively and make you a negative person. That's what I was trying to say. And you might end up taking out on others. Because guess what? I've done it. If I'm just being honest, I've had bad situations where I think a situation is going to be bad instantly right away. And I've taken it out on people around me that I didn't mean to, and that's not fair to them. And, I don't want to be that guy. So anyway, so talk to someone, Okay, so let's see. Here's another bullet point. So guilt beating A&Ts. Thinking of words like should, must, ought, or have to. So thinking of words like should, must, ought, or have to, right? Guilt beating. So I guess what they mean by is like beating up yourself with guilt, like I should have done this, I must have done this, or I have to do this, or I ought have done that. Yeah, you can't change the past. Whatever decisions you make in life is your decisions. And some might be good, some might be bad. But I think the most important thing is that you learn. You learn from those mistakes. You learn from and the more you learn from it, and the more you grow out of it, especially when you try to grow up and you're becoming more of an adult and more mature from learning from those life lessons and situations, no matter how bad they get, then all that guilt, it's easier to not beat yourself up as much. Now, don't forget, especially if you've really messed up and you've hurt others in the past, and let's be honest, you've done people wrong. You should feel that guilt, right, in your heart, but also know that as long as you still feel that guilt, but ask for forgiveness and show them that you really are sorry, then you won't have to sit there anymore and say, I should have been like this, I must have done this, or I have to do this, right? And then they'll see that you have changed. But like I said, still understand that you need to learn that lesson. I don't know if that's what they were trying to say, but that's how I see it, right? Because, I've had guilt, being like that before in my past. Again, I'm just being honest. So let's see. Another bullet point. Labeling A&Ts. Attaching a negative label to yourself or someone else. Oh, man. You talk about like getting bullied, like I said I was. Yeah, you talk about negative labels towards me all the time, like being called names and actually feeling like I was those names, being labeled as something and feeling like I actually was, because they would say it so much to the point to where it would manipulate my mind and I think I was what those people were saying. Ooh, boy, did I hate that feeling. Not fun. Not cool. Not cool either. You don't do that to people. That's not fair to people. It's not right. Everyone has a mental stability and everyone has a mental breaking point. And I'm not gonna lie to you. From how crazy this world has been, I think we're all kind of getting close to that point to almost breaking. And I feel like that's why I was trying to spread love and positivity and positive mental health things to talk about, because whatever you're going through, if I'm that voice that can make you feel better, that makes me feel better, and I appreciate you all listening in. So that's what I mean by like, don't believe what others have to say about you, like negatively, because they're hurting too. And I know I've said that before, and everybody says this, and it's kind of a given. Like, yeah, they're hurting, so for some reason they feel like they want to put a negative label on you because somebody probably put a negative label on them, and they feel that way, and that's how they feel, and they want to take it out on someone else because they don't know where to take those emotions. So that sounds crazy, but if you're being bullied, like, and I wish I would have learned this, when I was younger. But, I was dumb. My hormones were going all over the place. I didn't know. I mean, shoot, I had a young mind, I wasn't as mature as I was before. As I am now. Let's be honest. But a part of me kind of wishes I would have been like, hey, like, you okay? Like, do you want to be friends? Do you want to, let me, blah, blah, but of course I shut down and, didn't talk to him and just kind of went about my way, I would retaliate sometimes, but not, badly. I would just, I don't know. You get what I'm saying. But this is a really long example, or what I'm trying to say is that don't believe the negative labels, because then you're going to end up eating away in your brain, in your mind, and you're going to end up just hating yourself, like he's basically saying. So here we go. Another bullet point, fortune-telling A&Ts. Predicting the worst possible outcome for a situation with little or no evidence for it. Oh. So that's kind of like, the thinking in extremes of all or nothing, right? Thinking all good or all bad. Well, it kind of ties into the same thing because I've done that a lot, and I hate doing that because then it gets my mind racing, gets my blood boiling, like they're saying earlier in the examples, and it makes me think negative things. It makes me think bad things are going to happen right away before they even happen, before I even know that they're going to happen. And then it makes me react, and then it makes me emotionally react, and sometimes that's not good because I end up mixing up my words and then, backtracking, and then people might think I'm like lying to them, but I'm not really lying. I'm just like scared and that more nervous in that moment. It happens to all of us. I mean, I'm just being honest. No one is perfect, okay? But I'm just letting you know my flaws, just so you know that way. I'm just trying to be real with you people, just so you know that we can make up for it. We just have to try. And that's all that matters. You know what I mean? All that matters is that you try to make up for your mistakes and you try to be a good person and just show others love and positivity, Because there are, just like I said, there's negative people in this world. Don't know why they're here, but they are, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So if you have kindness in your heart, just keep spreading it, as much as I try to. It's not easy, I know, because I get angry. I have my moments. Like I said before, I'm human, Anyway, so let's see. But yeah, no, don't think about how bad a situation can be. Well, again, I know I keep repeating myself, but if you know about the situation, right, or think that it can happen this way, try to maybe get some more evidence, or maybe really look into it. Or if you really don't have any evidence or anything like that, it's not something, again, easier said than done. Let it go. Don't think about it. Just be like, all right, well, I don't really have anything to back up what's being said or what I'm hearing or what I'm thinking. So is this really something to look into? Is this something I really want to do? Do I want to be that person? Do I want to be the person that really looks into something that doesn't need to be looked into, or I could get myself in trouble, or that could make others, mad at me because I might end up saying something that I shouldn't say? You get what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So, because trust me, I've done it before. And I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but I've done it before too. Yeah, but let's see. Here's another bullet point, mind reading antis. Oh boy. Believing you know what other people are thinking even though they haven't told you. Oh, that's like whenever you have the feeling of like, you know what, I haven't talked to this person and I feel a certain way about them, and because of that, even though I'm not sure how they feel about me, I'm going to make up these things in my mind of how they think about me and how they think and feel about me, and blah, blah, blah. So, you know what, if they don't like me, fine, I don't like them. See, does that sound like you've done that before? Because that's what I do it too, on accident. You don't mean to. And the funny thing is, you might end up actually being the closed up, mean person, as opposed to the person that you think's trying to be that way towards you. Like I said, maybe you need to get to talk to them, get to know them, and realize and find out, hey, you know what? They do like me. They actually just were kind of feeling weird about me too, because I was giving off a weird vibe towards them. Maybe you need to realize that you're the one that's doing it and not them. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying that, like, it's a bad thing, but, the example, I've had the vibe before. People as outgoing and, as nice and silly and fun as I try to be, if someone's real quiet or quiet towards me, like not, very extroverted, which I'm fine, not everyone's extroverted or whatever, but like they kind of give me that weird, like, like weird vibe of that, not sure how they want to talk to me. I might take that as, and I don't know if it's because of me and my personality, but I might take that as an, like it's saying, I've done this mind reading thing, like thinking, oh, they don't like me, blah, blah. So that makes me closed up, and then eventually I do open up, and I come to find out they're actually really cool and chill, right? So that's, I guess, a flaw that I have that I need to work on, if I'm just being honest. Again, and I just want to be honest with you guys, that's something I need to work on, As much as I'll being out there and outgoing, that's something that I know that, again, I mean, pretty myself need to work on, because it's not always easy to do that. Anyway, so let's see. Here's 2 more bullet points. If and I'll be happy when A and T's. Arguing with the past and longing for the future. Yeah, Yeah, you can't beat yourself up for the past, especially of how your future turned out, because like everyone's future is different. Now, what I'm saying also by that is that do your choices in your life determine your future? I mean, yeah, sure, but not everything does. So, what I'm saying is that okay, no, that's not true. Everything does at the same time, but maybe your situations around you don't, right? So maybe sometimes your situations in your life around you aren't fair, but your choices do kind of determine how it turns out. But you can't. But however it turned out, we all make those choices, and if you want to, instead of arguing, I've said this before, I think earlier in the podcast, but instead of arguing with yourself in your past, do things to change that past, or so that, or trying to work your way to where you can make yourself a little bit better. Excuse me. Better as much as you can, so you don't have to argue with yourself, right? And longing for the future, right? Look, let me put it this way. I'm happy with how my future is, but there's still things I want to do. That'd be awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like me, I'm doing all the social media stuff so that way I can make my name for myself and get somewhere with it, And like I said, I appreciate everyone who tunes in and downloads and listens and whatever, subscribes in general, I feel like if you long for a future, that can be kind of like, in a way comparing yourself to other people, right? Being like, oh man, like, this person has such a bright future, blah, blah, look at me, like I'm a nobody, like I was saying earlier, like, I'm longing for what they have. Well, the thing is that long for what you want, right? Like, I think that's the best way I could put it. So instead of, like, comparing to other futures and longing for what they have and what makes them special, again, I'm going to repeat myself. I keep repeating myself because, to me, everything just comes back around full circle, right, to what the truth is about this. I think the truth is that, your future should be your future, and don't try to make it like anyone else's, because, they show what they have to offer. So make what you have to offer your own future and make it special, right? Anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense, but okay, so blaming A&T is the last one. Blaming others for your problems. Raise your hand if you've been guilty of this. Yep. Anyone else in the class? No, I'm just kidding. But for real though, anyone else? Yep. We've all done this, and we've all don't want to admit that we did this, but we've done it, and we probably still do it today. I've gotten so much better at not doing that. Because I realize that, people might get mad, people might hate you for a little bit, but like I said, as long as you change, and they can see that you're willing to change, and that you've changed your heart, and that you're trying to be a better person, I'm telling you right now, it'll work out for you better than if you tell the truth. Because if you lie, it's not good. And then if you blame others, but that's lying still, right? And you get caught in that blame, you're going to get caught in that lie, and then people aren't going to trust you, and people aren't going to want to be around you and not want to listen to you. Do you get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that don't blame others for your issues or problems. Be honest and be loving and positive. Anyway, we're going to do a couple more. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read the rest of her article here, and then I'm going to give my own personal reflection. It's quite a bit, but it's also, it looks important. So here we go. So what she has to say is, based on the above species, try to identify which species your A&T belongs to. Are you using all or nothing thinking or fortune telling? Or is it a combination of multiple species? Next, ask yourself, is my A&T actually true? Just because the thought pops into our mind doesn't mean that it's automatically the truth. So, questioning this is important. Now, for my favorite part. It's time to squish the A&T. Think of all the reasons why that A&T or ant. Okay, so, why do you say A&T? It is an ant, right? Well, I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to, what was the word, acronym, but the right definition or the right, anyway. So let's just say ants. Yeah, the reason, think of all the reasons why that ant may not be the truth and examples that counteract that ant. This is called the ant eater. Okay, so she's literally, okay, yeah, so, yeah, automatic negative thoughts. So, yep, so the A&T's ants, I get it. So it's an automatic negative thought eater. Smart, okay. I mean, I did get that. It's just like, because it's an automatic negative, I already thought. I already forgot. Automatic negative thought, or whatever. I was trying to say A&T just to, follow what that really meant. Anyway, sorry. For example, if my automatic negative thought is, I'm never going to be happy, right? Just like she was saying earlier. The categories it falls into are fortune telling and all or nothing thinking. When questioning if my aunt is true, I would remember that I have been happy in the past and that each day presents a new opportunity to experience happiness. See what I mean? That's what I was just saying earlier. Sorry, I have to give my own little reflection here. Think of the good things that you have in the past and even in the future, and think of what you have now, and think of all the things that, good or bad, that you have worked towards, and things that make you happy. You have something to hold on to. You know what I mean? There's got to be something good in your life. So instead of just thinking your life is horrible and you hate yourself all the time, think of the things that you have, and plus, who knows? Maybe you have riches that other people don't. When I say riches, I don't mean money, right? I mean things that you hold near and dear to your heart, things that are special to you that other people don't have. And if that's the case, then think about that instead of being negative towards yourself. Anyway, sorry. When questioning if my aunt is true, I remember that would... Wait, where was I? When questioning, I thought I was just making sure I was... Am I rereading the same? Hold on. Anyway, when questioning if my aunt is true, I remember that I have been happy in the past, and each day. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so these countering thoughts are the ant eaters, right? So my original negative thought doesn't even give me an accurate picture of my reality, but instead places a dark cloud over my head. Oh yeah, well that's true. Taking care of the ants in your life will be a daily and lifelong habit, right? Yep, every day. But with time and consistency, you can retain your brain to question those automatic negative thoughts and reason through them. Although the ant method uses a silly analogy, it is used as a technique for cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Awesome. This therapy is used to treat all sorts of mental health conditions, including anxiety, depression, panic disorder, PTSD, eating disorders, and many more. In many cases, ants can lead to these conditions or exacerbate and perpetuate them. You may be able to relate to having negative thoughts make what you're really going through even worse. As someone who has dealt with what seems like an ant pile worth of ants and who has literally stepped on a real ant pile, I can confirm that both are super unpleasant, right? But we have the power to challenge the way we think and keep those pesky ants away from our perfectly good picnics. I like that. That's a good analogy. I like that. A little haiku, I guess. It is also completely okay to seek out professional help in order to assist in... Exactly, I did. I love my therapist. Thank you, Connie. And ant extermination and further CBT techniques. Some ants are harder to exterminate than others, and consulting with trained mental health professionals can help the process. That is so true. Thank you very much again to Hannah S. Packiam, MD. This is from Northeast Georgia Physicians Group. So ngpg.org. So you know what, everybody? Let me see. How long have I been on this podcast for? I think it's about time to wrap things up. You know what? It's been on this about for 35 minutes. I usually do an hour, sometimes two, but this is a solo podcast, solo audio podcast. I think I'm going to wrap things up from here. So anyway, everybody, like I said, and I just want to keep saying, keep thinking positive. Know that you're special. Know that you have something to offer the world. Whatever your talent is, whatever you can find make you happy, whatever makes you special. Just what I'm trying to say here is sorry, I'm also trying to do something on my computer right now. What I'm trying to say is, no matter what happens, no matter what people say about you, think of the people who love you. Think about, again, what does make you special. Think about how people think about you. And just think of all the good things that you have, okay? Again, easier said than done, I know. But once you realize that, then you realize that sometimes life ain't so bad. Especially no matter what people do or say about you. Or what you have to go through. Anyway, everyone, this has been Comercy Capshaw / at Mr. Smiles a Lot with the Let's Talk Me to LLC audio podcast. Remember, think positive, love yourself, know you're special, find your talent, find what makes you you. Don't compare yourself to others, please. Don't think anyone else is better than you. And if anyone else says that they're smarter than you or better than you in a situation like that, just think about the things that you might be better at than them, and then that, not saying to go back at them in the way that they came at you, but I'm saying is that'll help you realize that, you know what, I am special because I know this or I can do this that this person can't do, right? And that can help you get over what they might have to say about you. You know what I'm saying? Because we all have talents. We're all special in our own ways. And once you find what's special about you, then dealing with all that can become a lot easier. Anyway, if you all need a marketer or advertiser, if you live in St. Louis, or if you need a martial arts coach, like I said, and like my slogan says, I am here to talk about all of your needs. This has been Comercy Capshaw / Mr. Smiles a Lot. I love you all. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.